Oh hey, my lighting sucks, my setup is terrible, I'm broke as hell. What are you gonna do? Got my handy dandy IPA though, let's get this started. God, I need to fix this. This is just bad. How's everybody holding up? Good? You enjoying the post-Trump era so far as much as I am? Ugh. I feel like I'm back in 2016 again, and it's just giving me so many bad memories and flashbacks of how much dumber I was. But I wanted to make a video at least mentioning Bernie's Mittens, because these things have absolutely blown up. There are so many memes. So many memes. Literally everybody you know is posting memes about them. Like literally so many memes. Even people that you wouldn't expect to be memeing are getting in on the action. It's become one of my favorites. I found so many glorious ones that you'll see throughout this video. But then I discovered something that made me think, okay, I need to talk about this. Not only because it's just how mind-numbingly smug it is, but it kind of reminds me why I started getting into politics in the first place. Now, some people weren't too happy with the Bernie memes. And this isn't just me, a white, cis, maybe, male, I'm pretty sure, going off about some random woman who seemed to have a problem with
old white males.
And this has everything to do with just blatant disrespect. Not only that, putting forward arguments that don't necessarily paint your cause or your ideology in a good light. So this tweet comes from Alexandra the Brave. I'll admit the Bernie memes are funny, but his openly grumpy disposition during a very historic moment for women, and particularly women of color, speaks volumes to me. The man was just sitting down. Thank you to everyone who gets my point about how a man is praised for something a woman would absolutely be dragged to hell for. Do you think Hillary would be a lovable meme if she dressed like that with that look on her face? Hell no. Okay, I mean, first of all, Hillary is widely despised, and it's 2021, and you're bringing up Hillary Clinton. Why? Just why? And like, I know that like strong haters of Bernie Sanders don't really pay attention to anything Bernie Sanders does or says. They just follow the narrative. Oh, he's just some old white man. MSNBC and CNN don't like him, so obviously I can't like him either. Not female, not a person of color, doesn't matter. But vote for Joe Biden. But my point is, Bernie Sanders has like a resting grumpy face. Like, have you seen him before? Most historic day for women and black women in particular thus far. I'm pretty sure I can think of a couple other more historic days than the inauguration of Joe Biden. Look, don't get me wrong. Kamala Harris becoming vice president, becoming the first woman of color to be VP is historical. Like, that's awesome. That's never happened before, and that's definitely something to be celebrated. Is she the best woman of color to be in that position? No, but it's still a milestone for U.S. history. And what is everyone talking about? Bernie Sanders. This meme just goes to show Bernie Sanders is more popular than Joe Biden. I'm sure from here on out, voters won't make the same mistake of sitting out the primaries when they could literally put in Bernie Sanders, who's easily the most progressive representative we could have ever asked to hold public office. Like, the popularity of him just innocuously sitting there with some dank mittens, becoming so popular and blowing up an area, that just goes to show it should have been him. It should have been his inauguration. I'm not a Bernie or Buster, but anyone with half a brainstem can tell you, like, he was obviously a better choice to be president than Joe Biden. And the last tweet of the thread goes, maybe I am bitter that Bernie gets so much attention for doing nothing but sitting in a chair looking grumpy and bored. Meanwhile, Kamala and women like her are expected to look and act pristinely at all times. Bernie was probably cold. Do you think he wanted to be there? I wouldn't have wanted to be there. Like, if I was invited to hold like a front row seat for the inauguration, why would I go? For what? It's for Joe Biden? And I don't really even care for Kamala Harris. When she was announced, I started making a video about her just god-awful record as Attorney General in California. But I scrapped it because I realized I don't want to contribute in any way, shape, or form to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris not taking the White House. If that video would have done even like just a sliver of influence over anyone to change their opinion about voting, or worse, voting for Trump instead, I wouldn't be able to live with that. Like, that's why I scrapped it. But this line about Bernie getting so much attention for doing nothing but sitting in a chair looking grumpy and bored, it was definitely more entertaining than Biden's speech. Not to mention, Bernie has been fighting like hell compared to Joe Biden for the last few months, especially when it comes to stimulus and the pandemic. Without Bernie Sanders, we probably wouldn't even have gotten those $600 stimulus checks, which were just insulting, by the way. A fucking, like, ooh, I'm not gonna, So I'll show you a couple more of these bad takes, and then we'll get to all the Bernie's Mittens memes. While I ramble and rant frantically. Ice cold feminist take. I love Bernie. I really do. But sir, emotional labor is not beneath you. Not feeling it? Fucking pretend for 1 minute, like most women do every minute. Yeah, I'll pretend that I'm not feeling the 30-degree weather. And a reply to the first thread I showed you. I'm disgusted. I don't think they're funny. I'm also furious that AOC tried to make Inauguration Day about her grandstanding on a picket line. These actions are not as popular as they think. Okay. Meme time. And also rant time. I'm fairly certain that AOC making time for a union in her district who needed her help in order for them to get a pay raise was more important than her symbolically just showing up for Joe Biden's inauguration. She needed to represent the people in her district, and that's what she did. And these actions are not as popular as what are you talking about? Grandstanding on the picket line. Because of her, I bet she's really, really popular with this union right now because they succeeded. Their demands were met. God, this is why I hate liberals. Yeah, supporting your local unions isn't necessarily something I expect you to understand. All the people that think like this take me back to 2016 and beyond. You know, the dark ages of modern U.S. politics, where every argument was support women of color, or else you're sexist, you're racist. And I fell for these arguments not because like, oh yeah, women are dumb or people of color are dumb. No, it's because they weren't arguments. Like, no one is saying your arguments are dumb because of your race or your sex. They're dumb because you're implying that people who are champions of women's rights, civil rights, gay rights, this and that, are actually sexist or racist because they're not behaving in a way that you see fit. With like something as innocuous as sitting with resting bitch face. I said in a previous video, I'm not looking forward to listening to the leftist types that call you a neoliberal or a shill just because you disagree with, I don't know, Jimmy Dore or whatever. The people who unironically endorse the Fraud Squad hashtag and whatnot. But this right here, this K-Hive liberal nonsense, I really, really hope it doesn't become prominent during Biden's 4 years in office, because there's absolutely no substance to this whatsoever. Your race, your sex, your skin tone, your sexual orientation, it doesn't matter. When it comes to representation, sure, that's great. Those are definitely perks. Like, Biden's administration is the most diverse in American history. That is awesome. I concede that. I'm fully on board with that. But if your ideas are garbage and don't do much to be implemented in a fashion that helps as many people as possible, then it doesn't matter what your identity is. Like, I would rather vote for a Bernie Sanders type politician, an old white male Democratic socialist, than a woman of color who's a fascist any day of the week. Like, there's no question. They could be the most charismatic, likable person, but if they're, like, unironically, like an authoritarian fascist with terrible ideas, you just count me out. And I feel like the kind of people I'm talking about in the video right here would girl boss the hell out of that fascist, and that is scary to think about. Oh man, that's pretty much it. There's my rant. There it is. This was so painful. I really don't want to do more videos like this in the future, but god damn, I'm so sick. If this is I gotta end this before I lose my mind. Did you guys know that Bernie Sanders is white? Someone needs to check their privilege before they become a popular internet meme. Hey, here's a part 2. This basically gives me an excuse to actually finish the video and put it out, because part 1 I did a while back, and covering this right now makes it relevant again. Yay! I'm kind of glad this next article I'm about to cover kind of came out, because it gave me an excuse to like finally edit this video and put it out. Editing is such a bitch. Like, I hate it. But hey, we got a different IPA this time. Let's go ahead and just get this over with. So this piece kind of made the rounds recently. This is from the San Francisco Chronicle. Headline: San Francisco high school students get a lesson in subtle white privilege. And guess who's on the cover? This just means you guys get to see more memes as I rant about how stupid this is. So the article goes as follows. Apparently this was written by a school teacher. 3 weeks ago, I processed the Capitol insurrection with my high school students. Rallying our inquiry skills, we analyzed the images of that historic day. Images of white men storming through the Capitol, fearless and with no forces to stop them. This, I said, is white supremacy. This is white privilege. It can be hard to pinpoint, but when we see it, we know it. Okay, so keep in mind, this is my first time reading the article. I've heard a couple lines from it, but so far so good. Like, yeah, pretty much what happened was the end result of untamed white supremacy. I made this point in my video about the Capitol insurrection attempt. If this was Black Lives Matter that did it, they all would have been shot to death. Like, they wouldn't even made it into the building. I cannot stress that enough. So it continues. Across our Zoom screen, they affirmed with nods, thumbs up, and emojis of anger and frustration. Fast forward 2 weeks as we analyzed images from the inauguration, asking again, what do we see? We saw diversity, creativity, and humanity, and a nation embracing all of this and more. Talk about liberal shit. On the day of the inauguration, Bernie Sanders was barely on our radar. The next day, he was everywhere. I wonder why that is. I wonder why Bernie Sanders ended up being the focus more than Joe Biden, who was literally being inaugurated as the 46th president of the United States. I wonder why that is. What do we see? I asked again. We've been studying diversity and discrimination in the United States. My students were ready. What did they see? They saw a white man in a puffy jacket and huge mittens, distant not only in his social distancing, but in his demeanor and attire. I mean, Bernie has resting bitch face. Like, he looks like a grumpy old man, because he's 79, he's a grumpy old man, what the hell? And his attire, he was keeping warm. You know how cold it is out there in, like, January in Washington, D.C.? In the morning, I'm pretty sure... Let's move on. We took in the meaning of the day. The vulnerability of democracy. The power of ritual. Traditions. And the peaceful transition of power. We talked about gender and the possible meanings of the attire chosen by Vice President Kamala Harris. Dr. Blah, 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 blah. We referenced the female warriors of inspiring these women of color, but a bunch of symbolism. Like, yeah, that's fantastic. All right. Style. And there, across all of our news and social media feeds, was Bernie. Bernie memes, Bernie sweatshirts, endless love for Bernie. I puzzled and fumed as an individual as I strove to be my best possible teacher. What did I see? What did I think my students should see? A wealthy, incredibly well-educated, and privileged white man showing up for perhaps the most important ritual of the decade in a puffy jacket and huge mittens. It's kind of weird how you say ritual, but like, it's kind of what it is. Like, I mean in no way to overstate the parallels. Senator Sanders is no white supremacist insurrectionist. No shit, go on. But he manifests privilege. White privilege, male privilege, and class privilege in ways that my students could see and feel. I think if this is your takeaway from the Bernie memes and Bernie blowing up the way he did by just sitting there in the cold, just disengaged, like, why are you not directing your attention towards Biden? Like, he was the one being inaugurated. Why? Sure, Bernie became the meme, but Biden's the one that became president. You would think that the president would be memed to death, but it was Bernie. Why? Cue the memes. It's because Bernie is more likable. It's because Bernie is far more popular. It's because he should have been the one standing behind that podium giving an inaugural address. But he wasn't. Because the media in this country fooled a whole bunch of people by fear-mongering about Trump, deservedly so. The only one that could beat him was Biden. Biden was more electable, whatever the fuck that means. Bernie's been busy as hell. He'd rather be joining union strikes. He'd rather be making videos about achieving actual justice for the working class, not attending this ritual, as you put it. People like that meme because it was relatable. All right, let's finish off this dumpster fire. When you see privilege, you know it, I told them weeks before. Yet when they saw Senator Bernie Sanders manifesting privilege, when seemingly no one else did, I struggled to explain that disparity. Oh, you did? You struggled to... I bet you did, because countless people, including myself, are struggling to understand it. They're struggling to understand why you made this article, why you drafted it. Man. I am beyond puzzled as to why so many are loving the images of Bernie as gloves. Sweet, yes, the gloves knit by an educator. So Bernie. I figured it out. Just like everybody else in the mainstream media, this teacher who wrote this article has a hate boner for Bernie. Yeah, Bernie's not a person of color. Bernie's not female. So even if he's literally the most left-leaning, pro-working class, pro-union person probably to ever be, like, have a seat in the Senate, that doesn't matter because he's old, he's white, he's male, and straight. Identity politics needs to be destroyed if the left, if the working class, if any leftist solidarity can actually succeed. Because this is garbage. This is dumb. Let's finish this. Not so sweet? The blindness I see of so many, Bernie included, to the privileges Bernie represents. I don't know many poor or working class or female or struggling to be taken seriously folk. Sounds like it. Who would show up at the inauguration of our 46th president dressed like Bernie, unless those same folk had privilege, which they don't. What? What? So you don't know many people that would just dress up warmly in a big jacket and some nice mittens made for you by like someone like an educator, someone that like actually truly cares about you, that as a gift. Who's the real privileged one here? Like, what the hell? This article is just so condescending. Like, shame on you for liking these Bernie memes. What the fuck? For Christ's sake, it's like I said, like if this is the future of the left, which I don't consider this shit. I do not consider this leftists. I don't consider this public school teacher a leftist. I don't consider them an ally to the left. This is trash. This needs to be fully rejected. And you know, it's a good thing that it fell flat and many people just like, oh, this is just dumb, and just moved on. But you know, I felt like just laying it all out and just letting it seep into the soul of anyone watching this, because this cannot be the future. This cannot be the future of the left. Sure, that first paragraph here, yeah, calling out the insurrectionists is white supremacists. No shit. That's obviously, this is a giant problem in the West in particular, because the majority of all domestic terror incidents are rooted in white supremacy, white nationalism, neo-Nazism, racism. And what the author of this article is trying to do is equate that to Bernie just sitting there with resting bitch face in his mittens. Like, what's the point? What the fuck is the point of this article? I'm done. That's it. What do you guys think? Please let me know. Like, engage with me. Like, please help me grow. I really want to grow this channel. I really want to engage with other people and hear other people's thoughts. So like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at Stateless Patriot. Share this. I will see you all in the next video. Be sure to check out my other content as well. Like, I worked so hard on my other videos. It would mean a lot. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. But this line about Bernie getting so much attention for supporting your local unions isn't something I expect you. Yeah, supporting your. Someone needs to check their privilege.